Oh, we're live. We're live, Paul.
Okay.
Hey, this is Linda West with Living Live. And today I'm really excited to introduce you guys to Paul Maloney, because I'm sure that most of you have bought a car at one point in your life, whether you were 16 or 60. I'm sure you've probably had an opportunity to buy a car at one point. So here's the thing. I don't know about you, but car buying for me has never been a pleasurable experience. But then I met Paul just recently, and he was sharing with me how you can save money and sharing some of the mistakes that people make. Now, are you able to mute your the sounds, the dings that go off there, Paul?
I turned my phone off.
Okay. Yeah. Please, everybody, please silence your phones. Silence your phones. So if you know anybody who is interested in buying a car, or anybody that you think that might be interested in buying a car at any time in the near future, go ahead and share this video out, because this is really going to be great information. Paul is going to dive into the biggest mistakes that people make when they're buying a car, and then also he's going to share with us a couple of little tips of how you can save money, like some of the things you need to say to the dealers so that you can save money, because there's a lot of information out there that we just don't know. Now, Paul knows, because Paul has been in this industry for many, many years. And let me see, I have his bio here. It's really long. I went and posted it in the video because it was so long. I want you guys to see everything that all the value that he brings. But he came here to the United States in his mid-20s. And he's worked for companies such as Toyota, Lexus, BMW, Jaguar, Mercedes-Benz, Land Rover, Alfa Romeo. So anyway, a whole bunch of different companies. Then he worked in the fleet industry. And so because of all of this knowledge that he's gained from both sides, he's able to share with us today. So Paul, thank you so much for being here on Living Live. Welcome to the show.
G'day.
As you can tell, he's not from here. So, Paul, what got you into, first of all, what got you into your first car job? Did you work at a dealer, or what was your very first thing dealing with cars?
It's a funny story, as a matter of fact, because I used to bartend with one of my friends down in the city, and he was in the auto industry. And we had finished late one night, and I said, I can't take it with these clients anymore, customers going from one bartender job to the other. And he says, during the daytime, he says, look, I sell cars. I said, I hate car salespeople like I hate real estate people. I said, nothing against real estate people. Nothing. I got plenty of friends that are real estate people. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to annoy anybody. And so I had one too many beers, the opposite side of the bar one night. He says, listen, why don't you come down and try and sell cars? He said, you're great with people. So I said, all right. So I went down and I saw what the selling side of it was, and it was exactly what I entailed, what it was going to be, just like everybody else does. And I'm like, I can't deal with this. So I almost got fired the first week I was there, because I couldn't do anything. I couldn't sell anything, and the customers were like beating me up. I wasn't beating them up, so it should have been the other way around. So anyway, one of the general managers, he took me on the other side, and he says, look, I'm going to sit you down here and show you the professional way of doing things, not the car sales side. He says the professional fleet side and everything else. So he took me under his wing. He taught me how to do everything. And that was just when Subaru was big over here, when Paul Hogan had the Outbacks. And was that your first, after your first week, or how long had you been there before he pulled you? About 6 months.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. And I was like, man, he saw something in you. He saw something in you and knew that wasn't the place for you, right?
So they got Paul Hogan to do the Subaru commercials with the Subaru Outback and everything else. And just so happens in the adjacent showroom, we had Subaru. So it was a natural fit for me. He says, come on over here and, sell the Subaru. So I was like, okay, sort of fine, okay. So when I would actually answer the phone, people would go like, are you kidding me? Is this a fake accent you're putting on? I said, no. I said, my name's Paul. I said, you got to be kidding me. And I said, no, look, I said, you can't make this stuff up.
Hey, why don't you put on your hat right now? You're talking about Paul Hogan.
I had it just because you had yours the other day. So there you go.
There we go. Okay, well, you keep sharing. While you do that, I'm going to get my hat. I can hear you. I'm right here. Go ahead. Go ahead, Paul.
So anyway, long story short is that I ended up being a sales manager for that of the Subaru side of it. And then I says, you know what, let me take it one step further. And I didn't want to deal with the public. So then we would then sell vehicles to big corporations, box stores like Enterprise. We would sell to rental car companies, Sony, Sharp. I mean, all big box brands, they would buy their cars from us also at the same time. And many, 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 many years later, the corporate CEOs and everybody else, then they wanted to come and purchase the vehicles through us instead of going through the dealership. And I said, look, technically we do sell to the public, but I says we don't. It's like going to a printer and saying, look, I want to print off 50 business cards. Well, we do 10,000 at a time. So we would have to stop the whole process. So we would say to them, look, if we can help you, but in order for us to help you, you need to know, one, the exact vehicle that you want, because then we'll just look up our fleet programs and we'll see, okay, yes, you've been here. You had a price on this. Let's look up and see how much more we can save you using the fleet programs.
Okay, wait, I want to stop you right there, because like, how much are they marked up? Like, really?
It depends on the vehicle. I mean, there's a lot of people think there's a huge markup in automobiles, and there's really not. I mean, the average, say, an average Camry is only marked up like $3,000. But what the manufacturer then gives to the dealer can be hundreds to thousands of dollars that they can use, but they don't want to give it to the public. So that's how they make their money. So
okay.
What we do with fleet, we use that actual money and we sell to, like I said, we actually sell to other brokers. We used to sell to, I really don't want to say who their name is, but I'll use another word for them, like untruecar.com I'd like to use. We would sell vehicles to them, and then they in turn would then sell to, say, you, and then they would then turn them back to the dealership. So they would get paid through us, and then they'd also make a commission on the customer at the same time. And then that started to get ugly with a lot of people once they caught on. With the dealers also, because they were trying to like double dip in their pockets, and that wasn't a good thing.
So how do they prevent that from happening? Or like, are there regulations and things that prevent that from happening?
It goes by state to state. I mean, it's different. California is different to New York, and a lot of people got annoyed over it, and a lot of people just said we're not going to do it anymore and whatever. So they stayed, within that. We also did that at the same time. And I then said, you know what, I'm getting all these people. I said, look, I was getting more and more that the word caught on. I'm like, wow, what am I going to do? I'm really getting sick and tired of being in the auto industry. So I'm like, you know what, let me create a concierge so that I can still maintain those clients, but on the outside. And when I have these clients, I'm looking at their applications like, oh, Mr. Jones, I'll see you in the real estate or the financial department. As a matter of fact, I network with blah, blah, blah customer, and let me put you in touch with these people. So it became a nice networking for everybody. So I would then refer customers to them. They would refer them back to me. And a lot of these people don't want to go to the dealerships. They just wanted to have their vehicles done, and it was delivered to them, which most of the time we always delivered it to them at the same time. So it was always a win-win situation for them.
So do you only do that in New York, or do you do it worldwide, nationwide? How does that all work?
No, it was in the tri-state area, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. But I mean, I do it nationwide now. So if people want a car in California, they want it in Florida, absolutely, I can do it all 50 states. Well, not all 50 states, lower 48 states. I'm not going to go to Hawaii and ship a car.
Why not? Well, that's really cool. I like how you you found a need for the average person and were able to fill that, and that's part of like what business is all about, right? It's trying to find out like what are people having their needs and wants, and then being able to fill it. So that's really awesome. Now,
it becomes a big confusion with clients when I should say customers, car buyers, when they want to go to the dealerships, because the customers hate the salespeople and the salespeople hate the customers. I mean, it's literally like a boxing match, and I've just about seen that in dealerships also happen with customers and salespeople. But it's the same thing, is because one, the client or the customer, I always like to say as the client, is that every time they go to the dealership, they've got this reputation of being who they are and what they are. It's not just here. It's the same back home in Australia. I mean, it does no boundaries. So it's very hard for them to go into somewhere. Now with the internet, they can log on and find their pricing and everything else. But that only gets them so far, because they can get to invoice pricing, they can get to here, and then they're going to go and get their pricing to go into the dealership and say, look, this is the price I got, this is the price. They're going to go, well, that's great. Let's take a seat. And all of a sudden they're going to say, well, are you looking to lease it or are you looking to finance it? And because very few people pay cash today. So most people say, I'm looking to lease or I'm looking to finance. The next thing a salesperson is going to say to them, okay, where are you trying to budget yourself on a monthly payment? And the people are going to go like, oh, I want to be around $300 a month, with hardly any money down, blah, 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 blah. So then what happens is the salespeople, this is the biggest mistake anybody makes when they're purchasing the car, is they don't know the actual selling price of the actual car. What the salesperson does is take them off the selling price, flips them like an egg, and fries them on the other side with a payment. So what they'll actually do is say, you don't know exactly what that selling price is. Because if I said to you, Linda, remember that car that you bought 2 years ago? What's the first thing you remember on it? The monthly payment or the price that you paid for it?
The monthly payment, of course, because I'm still paying it.
90% of people will remember the monthly payment because they're hardwired to say that. And when you see an ad on TV, you never see the selling price of the vehicle. It's always $199 or X amount of dollars down. It's continually drilled over and over and over. So the biggest mistake everybody makes when they're leasing or buying, they don't know the actual selling price of the vehicle. And then that's where they...
So when you walk up and it has, first of all, I want to welcome whoever's here because I see there are people watching, but I don't see who you are. So welcome to the show. And so I do have a question. So when you walk up to a car and it has that sticker price, is that not the real price?
That's the window sticker price that's on the vehicle.
So that's not the real price?
Yes, that's the real price. That's the window sticker price. That is the retail price of what that actual vehicle comes from. That's the manufacturer suggested retail price. You'll see it in most vehicles, you'll see it on the bottom right-hand corner. And it's listed as what it starts as, and plus the accessories, blah, 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 the destination on it, and it's like, whatever price the car is. When you go into the dealership, that's the price that they will try and sell it to you at, if you're really stupid. But then the way I've worked with my clients is that once I opened up the doors to what I'm doing now, most of my clients from prior to, they know the drill. They know what to come to me with, the numbers. I said, it's just like going to your accountant to get your taxes done. Your accountant's going to do your taxes for you, but he's going to say, look, in order for me to help you, I need all the numbers to work with. Go back, go home, get all your numbers, come back, you spend a little, you save a lot. And it's the same with us. But a lot of the people weren't getting, when they were sending me the information, they said, oh, we got all the information from the dealer. I'm like, great, send it over to me. Let me look up our fleet price and we'll see how realistic the price is and the numbers they gave you. And I said, then we'll see what programs we have. 90% of the time we can help somebody, but there's that 5% that we just don't have it, and we just say, we'll pass on it because we don't have that actual vehicle. So what happens is that they'll come to me and I'll look at the prices that they've had, and I said, what's this? It's like half a shopping list, So I look at it and go like, you left out this, they left out that, they left out, oh, no, it's not. That's what they gave me. I said, I'll tell you what, I'm going to send you a short list. You go and ask them for all this stuff, and then you come back to me. Then I'm going to explain to you exactly what's missing and what you need, and I'll show you what their price was and now what it should be, which is the selling price of the vehicle. So once I showed them that, they were like floored, going, oh, my God, I can't believe that. I said, look, the biggest thing is not made up front with the salesperson. The most money is made with the finance manager when you go in to sign. He'll sell you everything. He'll sell you everything. He'll sell you what pictures on the wall. It doesn't matter. But he'll talk you into it, and you won't leave that place until they have sold you something. That's where most of the majority of the money is made. So when people go in, they go online and they get these prices, they'll print it out somewhere, and they go, great, you know what? I got the certificate going in there. This is great. That's like waving a red flag to a bull. Except they're just going to charge you in a whole different way. That's the way it happens. And, once they know that you come in with these prices, they know exactly what to do with you then. They'll keep you there as long as they can, wear you down. Then you go into another finance manager. They'll show you the car before you sign. And you're all revved up, ready to go, no pun intended. And then all of a sudden then, come time to sign, you'll find out, oh, what's this charge? What's this charge? What's this charge? People now are so frustrated to the point that they just want to get out of there. So they'll sign anything to get out of there. And
it's like they wear you down, right? They're just like,
well, yeah. Well, I tell people, I say, look, there's two things, whether you, not even if you're buying a vehicle, but it's the second biggest purchase people will buy in their life. And I say to people, I said, look, would you go and purchase a house without getting a professional inspector to come in and check it first? You wouldn't do that. Would you let a plumber come in without a written estimate? No. Would you let your doctor chop off your leg? You'd want to go get a second opinion. And all these things. So I say, why in the world, with the reputation that I've worked in that industry, why would you take somebody's word for something without having it written down in front of you? I said, think about it. They get so drunk. They get so drunk on emotion. And they play on that. And once, it's just like a normal drunk person. They're vulnerable. They'll do anything. So I try to say, listen, let's stop the whole process. Let's take the emotion out of it and let's put reality into it and logics. And I said, this is where I come in and help you with this. So I created a book for this that absolutely, when I say it's foolproof, it is 100% foolproof, because there's the one thing that doesn't lie. Salespeople will lie, but numbers don't lie. So 2 and 2 doesn't add up to 5 till from when I was born till the day I die. The numbers are set up in the book that I've written for these people. They can actually go into the dealership and it tells them word for word what to say from the beginning to the end, and little things to fill in that says, okay, what's the window sticker price of the vehicle? They write that in. Okay, Mr. Car Salesman. Okay, are there any discounts, any rebates on this vehicle? Yes. Okay, write it in on that line. Then say, okay, apart from the rebates and apart from anything else, how much are you going to discount that vehicle for? And then you write that price in. That then is the vehicle price that you work off of, whether you're going to lease it, whether you're going to buy it. Those are the numbers that they work off of. Those are the numbers that they won't show you. But those are the actual numbers that you work off. And then after that, it just tells you the itemized stuff that you have to write down on top of that. So,
okay. Well, first, I need you to move to your left a little bit. You're out of the picture.
Oh,
there we go. You're sliding all over the place. That's okay. I just want to make sure they can see. I want to make sure they can see you. So what's the title of your book? How
to Beat the Car Dealer Every Time. It's so simple. It's ridiculous. And it really is ridiculous, because it's simple, logical numbers. And like I said, numbers don't lie. Mm-hmm. It has to just be the clients or the customers, I would say, they're not educated in the way to ask for the selling price and then work off of that. There's no way that they can, or anywhere they can actually go on the internet and check out their pricing, because they don't have the.
And that's a good point, because when we were brought up, we learned how to buy cars from maybe our mother or our father or our sister, and we just follow whatever they're doing. We're not taught by a professional like how we can go in and ask the right questions to make sure that we're getting the right thing and we can save as much money as possible. So that's, I think, what's really important there is to know is that, well, I learned how to buy a car from my dad, but right. Did my dad know the right way? Maybe my dad learned from his dad, who learned from his dad, and they've never been in that industry. So having the insider look, I think it's really important. And your book actually does go through that. It goes through every step. Yeah. Now, I used your ebook, and when my daughter just bought a car like a month ago, I think it was, and I reached out to you and asked you some questions, and you really helped us with the process. And it was cool because you had me ask some questions that we didn't know to ask. Right. So it was very helpful, and we saved some money there. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. But the thing is that forget selling cars. It's like if you go into a hardware store and you go in for, just to buy a box of nails, they'll literally hammer you for this, and everything else.
No pun intended.
Well, I was going to say screw with a screwdriver, but I wouldn't say that. But, I mean, no matter what industry you go into, it's nice to be able to have a professional to give you the advice and be able to walk you through the process. And you just can't get that with the auto industry. And it's a huge, big loophole. The dealers will always keep the customer in the dark. And the customer is then always going to go like, well, I got this price, I got that. And when they get together, it's just like dynamite going off. It's like, well, they said this on the internet. They said that on the internet. The car salesman will go to the internet and go buy that because you can't get it for that sort of price. But what I'm trying to get back to, Linda, is that you can have all of the sales price that you want to go and you can download on the internet. You'll walk in there and say, okay, Mr. Car Salesperson, I want this vehicle at this price. He'll go, sure, no problem. Let's go sit down. We'll write it all up. You'll get turned into a lease, you get turned into a buy, which is, like I said, 90% of people end up doing. And then once that is done, now it becomes, well, where are you trying to be on a monthly payment? Okay, if we can get to that monthly payment, is there any reason why you can't drive that vehicle home today, Mr. Jones? And the whole scenario with the body language and everything ties in. And that's what 90% of communication is, always by body language. And they're masters at doing that. You watch it all the time, and it's just like all of a sudden what they went in there, the customer went in there all geared up and ready to go, just went right out the window because now they're lost because they don't know when, okay, that $300 a month payment, well, what's the actual selling price of the car? They never will tell you that until you're on that big long sheet of that you've had to sign on your contract. And then when you get home, that's when the buyer's remorse sets in. So I try to tell people, I said, look, before you get home, and you go through this process, I said, the last place you want to end up on is the corner of Buyer's Remorse Boulevard and Sucker Street. I said, because you will end up there, 100%.
I've been there.
Yeah. So, buying an automobile, it should be a joyous thing. And I say to people when they're purchasing a vehicle, why are you purchasing a vehicle? What's the reason? What's the main thing that you wanted to say? I woke up one day and said, oh, shit, I just want to go get a car today. Nobody does that. It's always brought on for a certain reason. I need it for my car broke down. I need another one for work, or we just had another baby, or I just got a promotion. And I ask those people, why do you want those? What do you want this vehicle? What size vehicle are you looking at? And everybody wants, the $1 million Mercedes for a Hyundai payment. It just doesn't work that way. You have to be real. And you once that happens and reality sets in, they can't see that because they're so focused on these ads on TV. They say $199, nothing down and nothing down. You don't have to put anything down, but when you get in there to sign, they're going to hit you with fees, and that's just before you get to the business manager's office. Then once you get there, it's pretty much over for you, and you'll come out of there going like, my God, what just happened?
Yeah. So one thing I've been introduced to recently is one of my mentors says that all purchases are emotional.
Absolutely.
Everything.
Absolutely.
Because when you buy food, even if you're choosing between this steak or that steak, like there's a different emotion that's involved with, I'm going to buy the cheaper steak or the most expensive steak or whatever.
I feel hungry, or I'm having guests. There's many reasons behind that steak and why you have to buy that size or a smaller one, or a chicken, or a Thanksgiving. What are you going to buy? How many people? These are all emotional buys that we have in our head. And once
so when you're going into a purchase like that, like buying a piece of steak, it's different because the cost is very minimal. Whereas when you're going to buy a car, you're going to be paying on it for 5, 6, even 7 years. I think now they have car payments. You're going to be paying on it for a long time. So every month you're going to be reminded of that purchase, right? And then you have the emotional buying of something that costs quite a bit of money. Like you said, it's the second biggest purchase that
anyone will buy in their lifetime.
Yeah. And so it's really important to make sure that you go into it knowing exactly what you're getting and why you're paying the amount you're paying, and not to be in there emotionally buying, which, it can it's hard to take that emotion out of it because you're like, oh my God, I love this car. I just got to have it.
We can't do that. If I go to buy a TV, I don't care what it is. They go like, listen, I'm the worst person. I'll go in there and I'll say, look, I don't want to be around 20,000 people. I want that one. I'm out. That's the way. I'm a pushover.
That's how I am. I'm like,
just
give me
But when it comes to on the other end, on the receiving end, when it comes to my business, it's a whole different scenario because I know what goes on. There's negative and positive. And when that gets together, it's fireworks. It gets pretty crazy. And then the person comes in. Oh, what did I just do? I've seen people almost get divorced over certain things. I've had clients. I've had clients recently call me up. They bought a Volvo, and his wife said, "Look, why didn't you go and see Paul before you signed?" He said to go and do whatever. You gave him everything else, and he goes. I said, "Well, I forget his name," and I said, "Well, what did you end up paying for it anyway?" So he said, "They gave me a great deal. They gave me a great deal." I said, "Great, send me over your contract. I'll look at it." Well, they let him have it all right. They bent him over and let him have it really good. And sent it with the sunboats. Thousands and thousands of dollars. And I could hear his wife in the background, like, ready to throw things at him. I just like, but I hear that all the time. And it's just like, you have to separate that because some people, they say to me, they're like, oh, we're going to go in. We're so good at doing this. It's like, look, how many times do you have a fight in your life. It's like going into the ring with Mike Tyson saying, you're all beefed up and you're ready to go. Next one to hit you with one punch and it's all over. It's the same thing with the car industry. You're going to go in there. They do it every day, hourly, day by day. They know exactly how to play the game, how to spin your wheels, literally. And you, before you know it, you're like, what just happened? And it's by that time, it's because everybody wants to send you home in that vehicle that same day.
Okay, before we go any further, I just want to stop and say, hi, John Harrison. He says, you're doing a great job, Mr. Maloney, top class. You know,
Mr. Martin.
Awesome. Okay, so I wanted to know, you're obviously very passionate about this, but why? Why so passionate?
Because, I mean, I've always been that way when I've been growing up back home in Australia. I was brought up the old-fashioned way. Handshake, look somebody in the eyes, and and be honest, because with today's market and everything else, there's so many people on the internet. They hide behind so many different things. I mean, I've come across so many of them, and I'm pretty good at picking these people out. But some of them are absolute pros at being what they're not, and you become very wary and very, very skeptical. So with my business, I've looked at it and I've thought, the clients that I've been working with, they're not just being ultra high net worth individuals. They're my regular neighbors at the same time. I look at them and say, look, you know what? You don't have to go there and do that. So it became a loophole there for me and a niche for me to fill in. If I hadn't been doing it for 20 years and I wasn't being able to, in that industry of doing the fleet and everything else, I wouldn't have dreamt about it. If somebody said to me a year ago, Paul, you're going to write a book about this, I'd tell them they were freaking crazy. I said, me write a book? I'm a high school dropout. I wanted to be a professional surfer when I was a kid. So I ended up writing this book because the reason I wrote the book is because so many people, when they were coming to the website and they're calling me, they still didn't understand the process because nobody's explained it to them. So I thought, listen, I'm going to put this in black and white and I'm going to put it word for word exactly what they have to do. You ask for this, you fill in this box, just like we used to go in school. You learn this, here's the little box, the 2 goes in here, the plus sign, and here's what it adds up to. And you ask this question, and then you put the answer in. It's the same thing. If they can't give you the question, do not go to the next word. They will try and flip you into something. This stops them dead in their tracks. I had a young girl about 4 or 5 months ago, and she was on the phone, and she's crying. I mean, like there's no tomorrow. And I said to her, Susan, what happened? So she goes, I went into the dealership and she says, I was on my own. She says, I was vulnerable. The guys were hitting on me, and it become a whole intimidating, she says, I felt very violated. And I said, did you at least drive the vehicle? So she goes, no. I said, you didn't even get that far. I said, look, cars are like a pair of shoes. I said, you have to try them on to see if they fit you right. You might walk 10 steps to them and absolutely hate them. They're great to look at, but they hurt your feet. So you're going to jump right out of it. It's no different with an automobile. So I say, listen, Susan, go to the next place. I'm going to give you these questions to go answer, to ask. And I said, when you come back, let me know what happened. Well, long story short, she calls me like 2 or 3 days later, and she says, Paul, she goes, you're not going to believe what happened. She was a completely different person. It was like Jekyll and Hyde. And she goes, I went in there, I used all this, and this. She said, you should have seen the look on their face. I said, how did you know how to ask for them? Do you work in the industry? So even the sales manager come over and said the same thing to her. And she stuck to her guns, and she got everything that we needed from them. And she brought it back to me. I looked and I said, you did a great job. Now let's see how good they really gave you. They left out a few things, but it was no big deal. So we looked at that, and I said, how did that feel in there? She goes, I felt empowered. She says, I didn't feel naked walking in there. She says, I was armed. You really empowered me with it. And I said, that's what I want to get, and that's what I want to hear from somebody, because you go in there happy, but you come out like, somebody just robbed your house. And it shouldn't be that way. It's like anything that you purchase. Like I said, it gets back to that emotional buy.
Yeah. And then when that first monthly payment comes, you're like, oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. People get tangled up in it all the time. Oh, we can stretch it out. You want to be at $300 a month? Sure. It's 84 months, and you're buried in that car, literally almost.
Oh, hey, how can people get your ebook?
Right now, they can go to the website, carleasingconcierge.com.
Okay, I put that on the screen.
I had a sample version of that, but I took that away because people weren't understanding it. So what they can do, I don't want to see a person come to me and say, well, we're interested in this car. And don't come to us. We come to check you come to us to check your pricing. Do your homework, drive the automobile. When you're at the car dealership, you have to go there. Once you go there, they're going to let you test drive the vehicle, but they're also not going to want to let you go. They'll let you in the door, but they won't let you out. So when you're there, it's nice to know that you're armed with the questions and be ready for what they're going to say and be able to be saying, like, listen, I'm not going to get boxed into a corner. And right from I empower people right from the test drive to tell them what to say, to parking that salesperson at their desk, to getting the information they need to accelerate the process. So I said, when you have that information, good. Say goodbye. And it's all written in the book how it's broken down, what you should say and what you shouldn't say. And it's an easy in, easy out, everything else. And people are sitting there going like, what just happened? The salespeople are saying that now. The tables are turned. I've leveled the playing field for these people. So what happens is, so I come back and they say, well, we got all the information. I say, great. Now let's check it all out. They get the price check from us. It's $99. Okay. I say to people, people go like $99. I'm like, listen, the fees that they're going to charge you are going to be anywhere from minimum of $100 to $500 or $600. I said, and it gets back to the same thing. I say to people, would you buy a house without having a professional inspect it? No, I'll spend the $500, or I'll give or you go hire a lawyer. He wants a retainer up front. Everybody wants their money up front. So I say to people like, look, if I'll look up the programs, see what we have. If we can't beat that deal by $99, then guess what? Here's your money back. So you don't have to worry about it. I say
it's a no-brainer.
It is a no-brainer. So I say to them after that, I say, look, here's what we can do with it. And I'll look up the price and I'll say, okay, I have programs coming up or I have this program coming up. Let me look at this. And I'll look at it and say, okay, fine. If they want to go to get the full service from us, I should have said, it's $300. But what I'll do is I'll say to them, the $300, I said, in order for us to then earn your business, we have to then beat that price that you've already got by $300 and then some plus. I said, otherwise, we wouldn't even take the deal. We wouldn't waste your time. We wouldn't waste our time. So we look up and see how much fleet money, incentives that we got, blah, 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 blah. And, it's most of the time it's beat anywhere double, triple, sometimes quadruple by the amount. So I say to people, I said, look, think about this. I said, you're getting a professional service, right, for pennies on the dollar. I said, you divide that $300 by the course of 3 or 4 years. That comes out about $7 to $8 a month. So then you divide that by 30 days. That comes out to like that loose change that everybody keeps in their glove compartment but wants to throw out the window. So you're literally, I say to people, you're getting a professional service for pennies on the dollar that you're throwing out the window if you don't want to use our service. The whole thing about it is Linda, it's transparent up front, so they know. We leave nothing unturned for these people, because I believe in this motto is that if you have empathy and transparency, it equals reassurance and trust in anything. And once you have that, then you've answered the person, you've made them feel at ease, and then after that, they go like, well, okay, fine, it's all laid out here for me in black and white. And the cheat sheets that I give them, it's impossible for somebody to mess it up. I mean, if you mess that up, you shouldn't be driving a car. You go invest in Uber.
Well, that's it begs a question. So what are you named the biggest mistake that people make. So what are like maybe the top 3?
Well, that's the biggest one. I mean, the people don't know the actual selling price of the vehicle, because there's nowhere they can actually go on the internet and check that out, because they're not going to give them the actual selling price unless they ask for that. And if they do give them that selling price, then they're going to figure out that monthly payment. They don't have the software and the dealer programs and the bank programs to figure out all this stuff. You have to be a finance director, and that's what we do. So there's no place on the internet that you can go and check that out. It just doesn't exist. So I created that for them. So it's wide open. So they see what's going on. So there is no smoke and mirrors. There's nothing shoved under the carpet. It's out there in black and white. And those cheat sheets are just I couldn't put it any simpler for somebody that even the most novice of buyers can just walk themselves through. Even if they're trying to come and say, well, what do you don't need to worry about all that stuff. You don't need this, you don't need that. they're going to say that to you because they know we better throw them off here, because if we don't, they're going to know everything that we don't want to show them and disclose until they've already signed. When they get home, well, it's too late.
Okay, let me ask you a question about all this stuff that they try to sell you once you get to the financing department. Like they try to sell you different kinds of insurances or extended warranties and all these different kinds of things. What of those do we actually really need, if anything?
Most of the vehicles today, I mean, they're pretty much unbreakable, most of the cars, and the manufacturers also compete with one another as far as the warranty goes. For it used to be 3 years, 36,000 miles. Now they go up to 4 years, 50,000. The engine and the transmission. I mean, unless you're going to hit a telephone pole head on, I mean, the car's pretty much going to last a lifetime, because the average person keeps their vehicles only 3 to 4 years. So in that length of the term of the lease or the buy, you don't need to go and purchase all this stuff. It's ridiculous. People that finance their vehicles and they're going to be putting a lot of miles on there, that's a different story. They can purchase that, but the warranties that they're going to charge you are the same thing. What cost them $300 or $400 is now going to cost you $1,700 or $2,000. So now your car payment could turn into a mortgage payment. You know, I've seen people come to me with a Mercedes-Benz monthly payment driving a Hyundai and go like, how did this happen? And they just bury them so far deep. When they come out, they're the other side of China.
Well, what about the like it's only $1.38 more a month? You know, that's all it is.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. It doesn't exist that way.
Because that's what they told my daughter. It's only a dollar or something extra a month to get this or to get that. You know.
Okay, and I would have said to them here's the whole thing where it breaks it down is that what's the actual selling price of what that warranty is, and let's divide it by the math and the tax and the term and the interest on it, and then all of a sudden it's not going to be $1 a day. I mean a dollar a month. That's you know, if it is, it's an OSOW warranty, which means out of sight, out of warranty. As soon as you hit over the curb, goodbye. Good luck trying to recoup any money back out of that.
I've never heard of that one. That's funny. Yeah. I love it. Well, you know, I'm gonna we're about done, but you have an offer for the first 5 people who respond that you're going to give. Why don't you tell them what your gift is?
What I'll do is the people who go to info@carleasingconcierge.com, only the people that are in the market ready to buy, I will look at. Don't come to me saying I'm buying a car 3-4 months from now, because it doesn't exist. The programs change month by month by month. Sometimes when in fleet, they change day by day, the rates. It's up and down like the stock market is at Wall Street. They fluctuate. So what I'll do is the first 5 people that want to come, they're ready to purchase a vehicle, I will give them a complimentary the book, which will empower them, and they can use. If they're still unsure about what to do, they can go back to a dealership and use this. They can keep it forever. The ebook side of it is that it's like a calculator. It's a digital download, so you can always keep it in the palm of your hand, because the salesperson doesn't want to always give you the information. He'll say, well, what were the numbers? Well, he sort of said over the phone, he said to me, you're going to take their word over the phone? Come on, let's get real. So they actually just digitally punch it in there, and they can have it side by side by side, quote 1, 2, 3, and they can keep it right here. They don't have to show the salesperson anything. Just ask the questions, fill it all in. That's all on the ebook side of it. Like I said, they can reuse that over and over and over, as long as the calculator, stays in its battery life, or your phone life. Once they do that, they can come back. I'll give them a complimentary price check on that, which is normally $99. I include that. And then if they then want to purchase the vehicle, then I can look through that, and I will only charge them the lost me for a second. The price check part of the $99. I will not charge them the whole $300.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. I put on the screen, I love cars. So if you type I love cars in the comments below on this original video, then you'll be sent a messenger message with all the information of how you can get in contact with Paul. And again, it's the first 5 people who respond are the ones that he's going to do the free consultation, which is really awesome. I love it. It's
just trying to educate people today on things that they're unaware of. And it's when I hear people all the time, it's amazing that 99% of the people that end up coming to me with their pricing is absolutely incorrect all the time. So I say that's why I created that. Follow the steps. you're downloading a book for $19 that's got 20 plus years of industry knowledge from my head, and you're getting that. I mean, it's like you take that with you. It's your insurance card when you go somewhere. I mean, if somebody doesn't want to invest in that, but they'll drive 20 different places and put up $100 worth of gas and drive all over the place, where are you going to get that professional? If somebody still wants to argue on that, then I don't need to talk to people like that.
There you go. You heard it here. So, Paul, listen, give us the number one tip of the thing that they should make sure that they do nothing else, that they do this one thing.
The number one thing is that they need to ask the actual selling price of the vehicle first. Okay. No matter if they're going to be leasing it, they're going to be financing it. That's the number they work off of. But it's going to do you no good if you don't have the information and the steps to ask after that. That's why I explained it in that book. I mean, people will tell you can go online. They'll say, oh, yeah, well, ask this, say that. 90%, oh, we got this magic formula. I laugh at them. I see them on YouTube. They got this big white board behind them. It's writing all these things over. I'm like, well, that's great, but where are you going to go and check that pricing out? You can't do that. So it's a safety net. If they don't want to check it out, then good luck at the dealership.
So that's how important it is. He's so passionate about it. Like, it's like, that is the big thing, you guys. So make sure you get that information.
That is the number one thing I couldn't stress about more than anything else. And never say he'll say to you, well, what are you going to be? I want to be around $300 a month. Well, who knows? You could have been lower than that. So they're never going to come off of that monthly payment that you say. They'll never get down to that. It's always going to be that or above. It's never going to be, oh, Mr. Jones, 300. No, we can do it for you like 200. That's never going to exist.
That's really important, because what they're probably going to try to do is to get you as close to that 300 as possible.
Right. Well, their question always is, thank you, Linda, for coming in. Are you looking to lease? Are you looking to buy? Oh, I'm looking to buy. Okay. Have you financed before? No. What are you budgeted for a month? I'm budgeted for around about, $200 or $300 a month. Okay. So, and you have some money to put down, correct? And they're nodding their head, and you're going like this, and you start doing the same thing. Now, all that information that you thought you had from logging online and, all these stupid certificates they get on these car guru cult stuff. I mean, they work in with the dealers. They get paid to send you there. The other thing is that when you fill out this information online on these so-called places where they'll give you the information or whatever, when you send that information, they get your zip code, they give you this, they shotgun your information to all the dealerships. Before you know it, your phone's ringing off the hook, like you think you got your own personal fan club, but in the wrong way. So they're trying to sell you. Yeah. So they actually sell your personal information to the car dealership. The car dealership then pays them to send you there. So in essence, when it's all broken down, you ended up paying these people to take your information. That's
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it's like, you don't need to go that whole direction. Go download that book. I mean, it's the best $20 that you'll ever do. I mean, I could charge a lot more for it, do whatever. I don't want that. The whole thing is, it's the process, and I want to see people purchase things the right way.
Exactly. I love that. That's what's important. So you can go download the book at carleasingconcierge.com. And then again, you can type in the comments, I love cars, and that will send you the information of how you can get in contact with Paul, the first 5 people who respond. So Paul, I want to thank you so much for being here, and, Car Leasing Concierge, a great service that you're providing for people. And, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And I will see you soon.
Safe driving.
That's right. Bye-bye.
Bye.